All right, so I'm out here in Mandeville, Louisiana, looking at this parking lot. This building is about 15 years old, and we worked out here about 5 years ago in 2017. We did striping, we did crack sealing, joint sealing, and we did some concrete repairs, a few, not much. So this parking lot's in fair shape for being 15 years old for Louisiana standards. It's there's almost no base failures, but there's a fair amount of either shrinkage, cracking, or expansion and contraction, cracking throughout the parking lot. But most of them have stayed at the original surface level, so none of it, very little of it has moved. So there was good base work that was done, which is good. But anyway, this is an interesting property. It's got a little story behind it that, from what I would assume, almost never happens. So I was working on a parish job for a contractor, and I'm not going to say who this company is or who the contractor was, but at the time in 2017, I was waiting on payment for a job I was a sub on a parish job doing community college, new construction. We were doing basically what would be city streets and city sidewalks as far as the specifications go. So we were out there doing all the concrete work, and came down to our last payment, and it was about $20,000, and it was just for a little portion of some sidewalks. Now, before this guy hired us, he knew he was going to get a change order on the sidewalks. Then we started the job maybe a month after he had contacted us, and so I'd say that's 3 months. And then it took us about 2 months to do the job, and then we waited on payment from our last estimate. We waited on payment for 6 months. So it was six, whatever that comes out to. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know. It was like between 10 months, 9 months, and a year. He knew he was going to have to put this change order in, which he did. He put the change order in before we got paid, but he put the change order in maybe 3 months before we got paid. So it was way after he knew he needed to put a change order in, and then we did the work, and then we were waiting on payment, but he never did put the change order in until way after that. So needless to say, he got substantial completion before we got paid. And on any kind of government job, in Louisiana at least, you have to, you only have 45 days to put a lien on a project, because you don't lien the property, you actually lien the bond. So I did, and so I kept contacting the owner of the construction company and asking him for some sort of assurance that he was going to pay us whenever he got paid, and he never would. And so I ended up putting a lien on his bond, and needless to say, he was a little upset about that, but I don't think it's the first time, or at least it wasn't the last time. Same contractor ended up getting in some really, he really started getting a lot of these situations where he wasn't paying his subs, not treating his subs right, and whatever. Anyway, and that's the only time I've ever had to put a lien on anything, and that was 2017. So in 11 years of business, I've only had to put one lien on one project. And after hearing all the horror stories after the fact, and the reputation this contractor has since, I really don't feel bad. At the time, I did feel bad, or I was unsure as to whether that was the right thing to do or not. But in hindsight, it was the right thing, because on any kind of government project where you have a bond where you would lien a bond instead of a property, you have 45 days from substantial completion. And we got the bond. The bond went through at like the lien went through at like 44 days. I mean, I timed it just right to where he had the most amount of time to give us to make payment on the project. So a few days after, he called me and he was upset and wanted to know why I did it. And I told him we had multiple conversations, we had multiple emails. He had certified letters from the company that did the lien for me, which was Lien at the time. And I think I called about investing in that company because I was so impressed with that company, Lien. And that's a Louisiana-based company that does that. They do liens, and they sold out to some big company that does some construction software, accounting, or project management, or I think both. I don't remember the name of that company, but actually another little connection was I went to a Kennedy family reunion recently, and one of my somebody that was there on the other side of the family, not on the Kennedy side, but on the other side of my great uncle, is somebody's girlfriend worked for that company. Anyway, Louisiana-based company, and they sold in 2021 for $500 million. So I don't remember how the conversation went, but I don't think I could buy stock in that company. But if I had, I probably wouldn't be making this video right now. I got low power mode coming. Let's see. Close that. Okay. So anyway, needless to say, I put a lien on the project, or I put a lien on the bond, and I got paid like 2 days later. In fact, it was in the mail, and I think it was postmarked before that. So I say it was postmarked before that. I don't know what it was, but he claimed that he didn't know, and he did pay me, just right after the lien went through. So whether that was a coincidence or he had hurried up and paid me because he realized I was going to lien the job, I'm not sure. But here's the big. And it was through a contact that I met on his job, but I really don't think there was a direct connection between this customer here, this insurance company, and the company I was working for. So the connection is that while I was leaning the project, I was actually doing a job in the parking lot of the bonding and insurance company. So while I was leaning a customer's project, I was also putting a lien on my current, I'm talking about absolutely present customer, which was an insurance and bonding company here in Louisiana. And honestly, I don't think we have a lot of insurance and bonding companies in Louisiana that do. They're the underwriter, and they're everything. They have the money that backs the insurance. They have the money that backs the bonding. They mostly do construction and oil and gas. But anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting, if not uncomfortable situation for everybody. So I didn't really say anything to anybody about it. And I just did my job, and I received payment and released the lien on the bond, and went about my business. But so I'm back out here, and it just kind of reminded me of that situation that I really doubt any contractor has been in. I mean, so let me recap that. I did a project, didn't get paid for a long time, put a lien on the bond for the project, and so while all that's happening, and then I'm actually in the process of liening the project. I'm working for the company who was holding the bond. So I guess the people that aren't in construction, that might not be that confusing, even though it's kind of a mouthful for me to go over. But I'd have to say that is probably, I'd say it's probably a 1 in a million chances of that being, of that happening. So I guess there's maybe some relationships that are, maybe there's some relationships that I don't know of and some connections that I don't know of, but I don't think, I'm 95% sure that there was nothing, that none of that was done on purpose, and there was nothing malicious or calculating about that, especially not on my side, because I didn't realize that until I was in the middle of everything that was the case. So anyway, leave your comments in below, and I mean, I doubt this video is really going to get much circulation, but anyway, if it does, I'd like to see some comments and see if anyone's ever heard of a similar situation. Anyway, thanks. Have a good one.